Hey everyone, this is Vince. Thank you for joining this pre-global SLR call. And I'm very excited. Tonight, IMC Nation is in force with us. We have both Arash Dibazar, that's on with us, as well as Aukeyto. So without any further ado, if you guys are on the line, what's going on? How are you guys?
Doing fantastic.
Hey, how's it going?
Excellent. So the format is simple. If where you're at, there's a lot of sounds in the background. Just press star 6 to mute your line. We appreciate it. Star 6, and your line will be muted until we take questions. And then when we take questions, you press star 6 to unmute again. We want to take as many questions as possible. We're so excited. Every week, every day brings us closer to the world's largest event ever for seduction and lifestyle. In the meantime, Arash, are you on?
Yes, Vince, I'm here. I have an event in about 40 minutes. I have to be gone, so I'm ready to do this and blow people's minds. So let's get going.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks that you're making the time regardless. And Aukeyto, are you here?
Absolutely.
Phenomenal. So perhaps I was thinking maybe Arash, you can introduce Aukeyto, and then right after that, we'll start taking some questions.
Yes, I would love to introduce Aukeyto. Aukeyto is the head coach for Seductive Instinct, which is my company. He's the only person on the entire planet that I've sanctified to teach game to other men and women. He's the only person that would understand what it is to have the Seductive Instinct method. And when I say that, because you have to understand, I'm contacted worldwide all the time, people wanting to be coaches. My company's different. There's only one coach in Seductive Instinct, and that's Aukeyto. There is no other coach. I don't have a coaching program. The reason that Aukeyto's a coach is because he was with me from a very long time. I saw him go from nothing to where he's at now. He's been my wingman. I know his ethical standards. I know him as a man. I know him as a brother. I know him as a student. I know him as a friend. And I really know him as a pickup artist, and he's very, very, very good, in my opinion, one of the best in the entire world, because I've seen him in the same room with myself and some of the top guys you've read in the books. And Aukeyto's beat the pants off of him. So that's Aukeyto. He's here today, and we're ready to fucking rock this.
Aukeyto, it's a pleasure to have you on the call. I know it's very challenging to find the right kind of people to spread your teaching. I've not achieved that yet, so that means a lot. And you contribute so much every day on Beyond the Game, and I watch your videos, your posts, and so on. So just 2-3 minutes for you before we take the first question.
Okay.
What would you like to bring to the plate? What's been on your mind?
You know, I'm bringing something very special, something that's unique, because as Arash Dibazar mentioned, I've been around some of the highest level players in the game, and the reason why I chose Seductive Instinct is because of just the level of knowledge and how deep it goes into the science of pickup and attraction and seduction, and how it translates to life. And when I looked at many other companies and other coaches who approached me at times of wanting to learn from them, no other company could measure up to the level of understanding they came to when it came to life, because everyone else was just talking about picking up girls and having quick results, and that's cool and that's fun. But I was more into finding something that could change my entire life. And as you can see, I've been a living testament to the Seductive Instinct method. I've written several books on the subject of attraction and seduction and life in general, and it keeps on going. So what I bring to the table is a level of knowledge that is very rare to find in any community when it comes to attraction and seduction. I owe that to, of course, my teacher, Arash Dibazar.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you both for being on the call, and anyone who knows you knows that you search no further. That's it. Me, 20 years in this industry, and you come across a lot of great stuff here and there, but never condensed, presented so brilliantly as it is by Arash and you, Aukeyto. So let's take questions, gentlemen.
Yeah,
we are limited
this
time-wise.
Oh man, dude, I'm like so excited to ask you guys. I study as much seductive instinct as I got time for, and like you, I'm sorry, I might pronounce your name wrong. Aukeyto.
I'm used to it, brother. It's cool.
So I know that you're like into dance or whatever. Like I think salsa or something, from what I read. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I'm getting into that. You know, I'm still like kind of a beginner level of skill, but you know, I can like improvise and whatever. So I'm wondering if no, you don't. Sorry, someone was asking me something. Any advice on how to game in dancing scenarios? And I guess similar to that, like I'm a yoga teacher, like how to game in yoga scenarios. Like I recently, and this is all part like integrated, is I recently closed a yoga teacher and then had some I'm sorry, I'm on a really important call. And I recently closed this girl, and then afterwards I had some like kind of post-coital blues or something, and I didn't really know where that was coming from, like internally. So I guess those are my three questions: are like dance venues, yoga venues, and then this issue that I had with like post-coital blues. If you have any advice on that.
Okay, let me quickly share something that I've never really shared before about when it came to dance. In my experience growing up, I was the guy who never got the girls, who was always teased and bullied. And I knew one thing, which I knew how to dance. I had rhythm. And so I knew that if I couldn't get girls through, having game as far as what we would call sound bites, that any time that I would dance, I would have the most attention. So I used dance as a level of expression to let people know who I was or what my uniqueness was. And so that's why I love to dance so much, which I'm a very great dancer. I rarely do dance, but that's something that I will get back into. But when it comes to dancing or any other venue, whether it's a club or a yoga studio or salsa, bachata, whatever it is, the most important thing is to understand that you never want to violate in a social setting. You don't want to have a social violation, which is either hitting on a girl or upsetting anyone else in the venue as far as a particular set. Mm-hmm. So when I get asked the question of how do I game in a type of environment where there's a lot of music, a lot of people, a lot of alcohol, and which I consider social anywhere else, the game doesn't change for me. The only thing that changes is the environment, and that with that brings a slight calibration. My game is always, and it could always get into the debate of direct or indirect. It's not really either. It's more so of just understanding the game in general, the strategy and the science of it. So when it comes to wherever I am in game, if it's a club, I'm very aware there's loud music, which means I need to bring up my tonality. My energy needs to change because sets may be having a party. I can't come in at a low energy or low vibration and think that I'll get accepted. So the only thing changes is loud music. So I need to raise my voice. I need to make sure that there's sets, multiple sets, mixed sets, men and women. So if there's a guy in the set, I must acknowledge and open the male first, because I don't know if the girl is a girlfriend, wife, sister, friend's girlfriend. I don't know. So it's a strategy when it comes to whichever environment that you are in, and just knowing how to approach any set, any time, in any environment is where you want to start from the very, very beginning. And from there, as you mentioned, a yoga studio, the only thing changes there is that it's a lot of women. Everyone's there to do yoga. So I would make sure that whatever I do or say is in the context of where I am. And the most important thing, again, is to not violate in a social setting. You know what I mean? And you did say one thing other about having the blues or something like that.
Yeah, blues after I closed, and she left, and then I don't know. I was just feeling kind of down. I don't know if it was like a performance thing or.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right. So one of the most greatest teachings that I had ever learned from, of course, my teacher Arash Dibazar, and it's part of the seductivistic method, is you simply reject rejection. It's two things you can do with rejection. You can accept it, it can become you, and it validates you, and then you become smaller. You can either accept rejection, which I did many, many times prior to the game, which was if I got rejected, I made it my business to show them the motherfuckers who injected me, the girl, of course, rejected me. I was going to show her, I was determined to show her that you just missed out on an opportunity. So I would use that as momentum to keep going. And the other thing is I can just not accept it. It won't become me and cause an invalidation and make me smaller. So you can simply reject rejection, or you can use it to your advantage as more of a willpower to keep on going, man. So the reason, to wrap it up, the reason why you felt the blues is because you allowed it to affect you in a negative way to where you felt invalidated by it when you walked away from the actual set. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what happened there. So what you want to do is before you approach, a lot of times guys have in mind that they'll create the outcome before they even open, which is I'm going to get rejected. I'm going to get rejected. If you don't think with that, if you think with I'm just going to practice, rejection comes with the territory. Then even if she says no, it's okay. I'm practicing. It's understandable. So don't allow it to invalidate you, man.
Dude, yeah, rejection comes with the territory. That's hugely profound. And like a scenario that's coming up now in two different circumstances, like, I'm talking to one girl and I'm also talking to her friend in a building and accumulating context. And so I'm wondering, what is y'all's philosophy or approach to, do you just let them talk amongst themselves? Do you tell one that you're talking to the other? Like, how is that going to be best played out?
So
I'll take that.
Okay, great.
I'll take that. The question that's being asked, I want you to understand, is not a question that I ask myself. And because that's not a question I ask myself, how do I tell her? It's not a consideration of mine, right? Because I don't ask that question, my mind is not occupied in trying to find an answer for it. Because the reality and the truth is that I'm going to be with whoever I want, and women are not loyal, so she's going to leave me, so I need a bunch of them. And I'm here to have a good time, and I increase their survival, right? They are privileged to be with me. I need you guys to understand something. I've been gaming on another level, and today I finally, long distance from here to New York, just off of Facebook, a gorgeous girl, which you see her. Man, I got to read it to you guys. But she was like, I want to be your girl. I want you to be my man. And it was unreal. And she knows how many women I have. And it's not a concern. So if you change the question, which is in your own mind, you might be asking yourself, how do I get her to be okay with that, blah, blah, blah. Forget that question. You don't need an answer to that. Because it's not how do you get her to be okay with it. It's, are you okay being with multiple women or not? And if you are, then go out and just be with multiple women. And then if you have to handle anything, something comes up, you handle it with complete power and honesty. She's like, well, you're talking to other girls? I say, yeah, no shit. I can't just have one fucking girlfriend. Are you kidding me? Did you think you were enough for the rest of my life? Oh, well, that's rude. No, baby, it's not rude. It's very fucking honest, you see? Kings in ancient times had 100, 200, 300 fucking women. Are you kidding me? All right? Now, I'm no less than any fucking king that ever stepped on this fucking planet. I'll put all of those guys in my pocket. Now, I know this about myself, right? Arash is talking. I know this about myself. If a woman can't acknowledge that in me, the woman is not qualified to be in my life. And I move on and I grab the next one. It's very easy. It's like this. 10 women standing there. I talk to number one. She's not qualified. I talk to number two. And I don't even worry about number one again. Number one is done. I don't need to save her feelings. I don't need to be nice to her. She's done. We're no longer in contact. I've now disqualified her. She doesn't exist in my world. No more communication. I go to number two. I spit the same game on number two. If she's not qualified, I go to number three with even more confidence. Spit the game on number three. Number three accepts. Come with me, number three. We're going to go get number four together. Number three and I go to get number four. Number four is like, well, I'm sorry. I say number four, get the fuck out of the way. Number five. Number five comes in now. I got 3 and 5 in myself. And now the momentum is built. Number 6, 7, 8, 9 are going to say yes very quickly. So change the question. My suggestion, well, it's not really a suggestion. I'm just telling you where I come from. I don't think how do I make her okay? I never thought. I have 5 girlfriends right now, actual girlfriends, and they all know about each other, and they all love each other because of me. But I never planned to do that. I just continued to express myself as I'm doing right now, kept making my game better, kept bringing up my value, and I just went after the next girl, then went after the next girl. Issues came up, I handled it. Issues came up, I handled it. I got rid of a girl, got a new girl. That's it. You just live. You don't need anything besides just being able to game and get out there and not apologize. The girl is going to be okay with it because she just is. That's it. That's the reality of it. Take it from a man who's living it. You understand? I'm not giving you book knowledge. I'm telling you that's just the way it is because I'm living it. There's no other way I can say it. This is the path. That's my
It's like hugely powerful. Like I want this like recording to be made available so I can listen to this again. And I got to say, Vince, I've been listening to the hypnotic inductions at night, and I can feel like every day it's just like, I don't know, I'm just a little bit more outgoing. I don't know where it's coming from. So that's, huge gratitude to you. Thank you.
Coming from that.
Yeah, excellent. And I just want to restate before we and pitch in a touch before we take the next question. What Arash just said is so essential. I think one part of it, he doesn't even ask himself that kind of question. So you got to realize any new discipline you're going to take on in life will consist of 3 main areas of change. The first one are going to be the things you're going to need to omit, no longer do, no longer even think about. So you got to start to make a list of some of the things that just don't belong into that new life you're creating and the kind of questions a man who has plenty would never ask. So you eliminate those. Then there's already everybody, things that you naturally, even if they're minimal, even if they're a bit hidden, or you find them in a different area of your life. There's things that you already do that if you just do them a little more often, a little longer, a little bit better, are going to pay off really greatly. And then there's a lot of things, frames of mind, concepts, ideas that you need to add, that you haven't tapped into. And to me, Arash is the master of that. He's stretching everybody's thinking so far beyond. And for some, it's nuts. It's just too much for them. They're not ready for it. But you better be ready for that. Backtracking with the salsa thing, real fast. Then I think 3 key things have helped me throughout the years when finding myself in a setting where there's an activity going.
Yep.
Okay? Number 1 is you got to acknowledge that. And there's so many ways to do it, and you can become more and more slick at doing it. For example, you're at a yoga class, and you see a girl that's cute right after class. To not come across as a desperate guy who came to yoga class to pick up a girl, you go, man, too bad. You always meet the most interesting people pointing at yourself when you don't expect it. I came here for yoga. Had I met you at a bar, by now we would be hanging out. Had I met you at a bar, by now we would be hanging out. So you kind of disqualify it, like I'm only here to do yoga, but too bad, because a girl like you and me at a bar, completely different. The second thing is, if you follow the hierarchy, only do it if you're really committed to master it because you love it. And one day you're going to be like the king of the party. But if you're just going once in a while to salsa class, the worst mistake you could make, you got to be aware of the rule and the hierarchy, but you cannot buy into it. Otherwise, you will never measure up with the inner rule of like the idea of, wow, the girl's going to like the better dancer. If you're aspiring to be that guy or you're that guy, that's one thing. But if you're not, then you'd be better off just making fun of it. Okay? I recently got to salsa dance. I don't know any steps. I never got salsa. Even as a drummer, I could not play it. I could play reggae, so many different ethnic beats, but salsa, never got it. Okay? So it was hilarious. I was being twirled around, and I was supposed to be the one leading. But that's what I capitalized on, having fun with that. Okay? And last thing you want to do is either go super direct. Okay? If, let's say, you see a girl and you go, I know we're at yoga class here, I know this is salsa dancing, I didn't expect anyone as cute as you. I really want to talk to you after class right now. I'm here to enjoy the class, but I had to tell you. So, wow, those balls. Or if not, you better forget about meeting women initially and really participate more greatly. You know, nothing worse than the girl who's, let's say, grocery shopping and she's looking at the ingredients and the guy standing behind her trying to small talk. It's desperate. You're much better off. Whatever you're doing it with your heart, with your soul, heart, guts, and balls. And then from there it branches. And, you know, never assume that the guy who does it best will have all the success. I for the past 5 years, I've had a stripping pole. I have several. And once I had some interns, and they were like, you never invite us when you're with girls and so on. So I say one of them, okay, why don't you come? And some girls were dancing and stripping. And for the whole night, he was going against it because he was trying to look cool, but he was not a male dancer. I pulled him to the side. I said, go back and pretend that you're the coach and act ridiculous. And he goes, ladies, one more time and up and down and do it again. And little things like that. So they knew that he could not do what they were doing, but they were so amused and he was so at ease with it. Eventually that did it. So I think we should take the next question, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what's up? I got a question.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
All right, hey Vince, this is Matt. I got a question for you and Arash. All right, you guys have transformed hundreds, if not thousands, of lives by now, and I want to ask you, what's the number one thing that separates the people who make it and the people who don't? And if you would go back and talk to your, 20-year-old self who is just starting out helping other people, what would you tell them? What advice would you give to them so that they can help people transform faster and better?
The one thing that I've noticed that I think people won't talk about, but if they look at it, any coach who's been in the game for a while, whether it's in martial arts, fitness, or pickup, or whatever I do, it has to be looked at. And I'm going to say it, and I know the other two coaches are not going to look at it after I say it. But the one thing that makes a difference between one who learns and one doesn't is how much money they spend on their education, period. The ones who spend their money, hard-earned money, and almost go broke, they make it because they value the knowledge they get. The ones who don't spend any money on the knowledge and try to just get as much free as they can, they already are violating a sacred law, which is the game is sold and not told, baby. So you got to understand that's the old rule. And ancient knowledge, which is what everybody comes to me for. Everybody knows I know something. They just don't know what the fuck it is that I know. The problem is they think I know some things. I know many things. That's the problem. That's why they can't locate it. And ancient knowledge from all times, you would have to put your fucking soul into it to learn it. There's a story of Bodhidharma, the Buddhist priest who went from India to China, and he was disgusted with what he saw in Buddhism over there. And he went and he sat in a cave, and he faced the cave. He didn't come out. Some guy went to study with him. Some guy went to go study with him. Some guy went to go study with him, and Bodhidharma looked at him and said, get out of the cave. And the disciple said, I really want to learn. He said, get out of the cave. The guy stood outside for 3 days and 3 nights. This is what you get from the Fight Club. When they try to join the Fight Club in the movie, he has them stand outside for 3 days and 3 nights. It's in reverence or in homage to this story. And after 3 days, he goes outside, tells the guy, you need to get out of here because I'm not going to teach you. You need to be dedicated. And the guy chops off his left hand, completely cuts off his left hand, and brings it back and presents Bodhidharma his left hand. And Bodhidharma looks at him and says, what are you doing? And he says, I've cut off my hand to show you that I want to learn. I'll do anything. At that moment, Bodhidharma accepts him as a student. When you come to IMC Academy, the Survival Center, the old school guys, Tuck Rabal, Kamikaze, the guys that have been with me for many years, because we stopped doing it with the new generation, but the first generation of people, when we bow to each other, we bow with only our right hand up. We one-handed bow, as in tradition of IMC Academy comes from that. This knowledge has to be paid for somehow, some way. And to the degree a person pays for it, whether it's money or they dedicate their entire life by what? In the old days, they would come and they would live with the master. They would clean the house. They would make food. They would protect the master from everything. We're not on those days anymore. No one's going to come live with me. So the one difference I've noticed, including Aukeyto, who is the head coach at Seductive Instinct, is whether there's money in their accounts or not, the people who want to learn, they spend their hard-earned cash, what they have left. They value the knowledge more than food, more than sex, more than shoes, more than shirts, everything. I am also one of those people, and I know for a fact Vince is one of those people too, and I know for a fact that Aukeyto is one of those people. So the fact that the three people you're listening to right now have spent every fucking penny they had at some point and still do to learn this knowledge, I say that is the number one quality to differentiate somebody who learns this at the right level versus others who are dilettantes. And that's my answer for that. Okay, we can't hear anybody, so I'm hearing nobody right now.
Okay, Vince, can you hear Vince? Vince?
Hey, can you hear me? Yeah, dude, I can hear it in your voice, man. You're a powerful motherfucker. You Vince?
Yes, I'm back.
Vince told me, I'm going to pay my buddy like all the money I have, and if I don't get laid within 24 hours, don't even let me back in the house. Arash, I know you literally said, I'm going to put my whole life in this, in whatever you wanted, whether it was martial arts, whether it was pickup, man. So thank you for sharing this. And Arash, let me ask you this. If you had the option between learning from the master's best student and just doing it yourself, but kind of learn from the master, okay? So you can either learn from the master but not work with him closely and do it yourself, or you can learn from the master's best student and live with him. What would you choose and why?
I didn't hear the end of that question. Learn from the master or what?
Learn from the master, but do your own thing and learn from a distance, or work closely with the best student and learn from him and help him, but not do your own thing. What would you choose?
I would choose every level closer to the source, right?
Okay.
When I learned pickup, I sought out mystery, and that's where I went to the source. When I learned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I sought out Batata, the world champion, and I became his number one student. When I sought out acting, it wasn't acting, it was about life. I sought out Manu, and I became his student. And so I've always tried to put myself right next to the source because I know the value of the source emanating the energy. Then from there, if they're not available, I would find the next person in line. For example, Manu is no longer alive. He's not around. So there's no access to Manu right now. So if I teach Manu's art, which was acting, which I do teach it, it's always going to be watered down versus what he taught. However, it will be still closer to the source than anybody else out there because I was his actual student. So first I would go to Manu if Manu was alive. If he's not, then I would go to me. And then if I don't have access to me, I would then access videos and books or whatever, because the closer you get to the source of the earthquake or the tornado or whatever, the more power it resides in that place. That's why we have this thing in our minds. We want to go to Egypt. It's not good enough to see the fucking pyramids in a movie or in a book or talk about it. Why the fuck do we want to go stand next to these goddamn things and just stand there on the land? Because being at the epicenter. So that's what I would do, and that's what I've always done. And I've said many times, many times, I said, look, there's going to be a time when I will be dead, and at that moment, things will be different. But while I'm here, the girls around me that are closest to me, my women and my students, they know, they value. I just had a conversation with Aukeyto yesterday explaining to him how this total takeover of this thing we're doing, and I said, look, bro, when I die one day, you're going to be like, fuck, man, I knew that motherfucker. Like, that was some real shit that this guy did. Because people don't see, you're seeing right now an answer to a question being posed on a public forum. And this, although may sound big, may sound strong, may sound like I have something going on, this is nothing compared to my private conversations, because that's where the power is. The power is when no one's around. The power is what was happening right before this call in my office. That's what's important. what Manu would say was, it's you and your God. When it's you and your God, who are you? And at that moment, we know who you are. So that's the important thing, because the problem is people keep seeing me on stage. They keep seeing me in a video blog, or they see me in a call or something, and they go, wow, that guy's powerful. No, this is not power. This is a water filter that's taken from a waterfall 10,000 feet in the sky and dripping it down so people can put it in a glass and drink it. The power is the waterfall. This is the filter through the Q&A, 10, 20 minutes of me answering this. And that's that.
Well, we should take another question for Aukeyto in a second. I don't know what's your take on the question that just came up. I will just totally reinforce what Arash was just saying. My own personal education at a time when I really didn't have the money, way before the internet, when the only option was buy the fucking home study course at $300, $400, $500 or go in person. Elsewhere, you could not get it. And I was just at the beginning of them creating those things that you could no longer duplicate cassettes or CDs and so on to avoid piracy. $30,000. $30,000 is how much money I've put in my 20s to go visit Tony Robbins, Norman Vincent Peale, Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, and the tab was a lot higher back then than it is for the pickup community. So it's essential. Another thing that's really interesting is also how the higher you go towards healers that are the real deal, we're talking like very esoteric approaches, that can reestablish a person's health and so on. There is always that understanding of fair trade. It's like I came across some really amazing Kundalini masters and so on, and they live very humbly, very simply, but they would always understand it. Hey, you want to learn something? Well, you got to learn that nothing comes in for free. That's the big problem of this day and age. Everybody wants the quick fix, and it's beautiful on one side, but very damaging on the other side. I was teaching 7 days ago, so it's 14 days ago, and I was teaching about 12 hours a day. And at that rate, by the last couple of days, the combination of being party mode, hardcore, and very tired, and also having shared so much information, I started to see things come into place like I had never before. For example, I was heading towards a restaurant, and the line on the street was super long, and cars were blocked, very little space between cars. People were trying to cross the street. It was a mess. So for about 15 minutes, you had to go through that. But the funny thing, once people would enter the parking lot, then the same people who were wrestling and struggling prior were leaving extra space up to the length of one car in between cars. So I started to notice all those things, and it also became obvious to me the direct relationship between how women respond to you and how you respond to learning and life and so on. You will get the exact same vibe from women, meaning if the guy is constantly hesitant, going half-ass into his learning, thinking he can do it on his own, that is fine, and so on, all that energy will bring women that are going to be very hesitant, very complicated, and so on. So you ask me, in my own opinion, the one thing that makes the biggest difference is most guys don't even go for it. Most guys, it's just presence, so they get a sense that they're doing something. But it's just to get rid of the fear a little bit. So you got to surrender, dive in, let go of any reasons why you could not be super successful. And the more you work at it, the more you realize there's so many more layers to peel to be more free. And make no mistake, I mean, it's awesome that some guys will go the distance, come to a boot camp and so on. But the majority of the work then has to do with you showed up. Why don't you show up all the way? So the biggest difference is those who truly dive in and those who still hold back and have any form of reservation. And you got to identify them as soon as possible and eliminate them as rapidly as possible. And you got to start to say yes to it all, to that whole experience, and dive in, and you'll be more and more free with every new day. So I hope that helps. I want to make sure we honor Aukeyto. Perhaps we can take a next couple questions for him. So, but I think I muted everybody. Bear with me. Okay, we're back, everybody. It was a lot of sound on the line. Questions for Aukeyto?
Yeah. I actually have a question for Aukeyto. It's to Sammy Vega. There's a new girl that I've been talking to that I've known probably 4, maybe 5 years pre-game. Now I'm talking to her, you know, when I'm a little bit more into game and more indulged in it. I've been with her probably out 4 times, and I've had sex with her 4 times, but I don't feel like she's fully invested. What's the next step to getting her fully, like, I want to say indulged in my lifestyle, but more invested besides sex, where she's almost like a quote-unquote infatuation?
Okay. Yeah, you just pointed out one of the most important things when you said you're wanting to gain full compliance from her. It's what do you have to offer more than just sex? Now you did the proper moves in game, which was you reinvented yourself, and now you're able to sleep with her. But that's just not enough. It's what do you have to offer her besides, you know, some dick? Because that's not going to increase her survival. Ultimately, it won't. It's fun, and it'll definitely die out soon. So whatever you have done to attract. So whatever you have done to attract her up until now, you have to do more of that and display more of that to her so she can see exactly what value that you're offering. Otherwise, just where you are right now and becoming complacent, it'll die out real soon. So whatever your value is to her that have gotten you this far, you have to turn it up a lot higher and make it visible to where she can see it. And that's pretty much all you can do as far as continuing to seduce her. I don't know if he wants to add on to elaborate more on that question. That's pretty much where you are.
Yes, sorry, I have muted the callers because there was quite a bit of sound. So awesome answer. And I'm wondering if Arash is still there. I know he has a time constraint tonight. So Arash, are you still on the line or you had to bail? All right, so I just want to verify that you guys can hear me. I've been doing so much muting and unmuting. You can hear me good, right?
I hear you, Vince. This is Aukeyto. I hear you.
Yeah, excellent. I think one thing that's also always very important is to define that balance between you doing your best, but also how capable the woman is. You know, when you're with more and more women, you start to realize that, hey, beauty is barely the beginning, okay? So you got to know that the same way not all women could sustain a job and so on, that some of them, it might be that they just don't have it in them to really participate more and so on, okay? You also must watch out for the dynamic. My first teacher, Marshall Silver, the famous hypnotist, used to always say, you don't use that, you know, like little kids having revenge or at that level, but you got to be aware that in any human relationship, the one that has one foot out controls it. Absolutely. So oftentimes what happens is you with a woman, it's all great, and you do your thing as a man, and you got to realize that part of doing your thing as a man is to first, is she capable? Does she really have what it takes? So you're testing her, okay? You have nothing to prove and so on. And then to also realize that you probably are a little more invested because by nature, us men, we're always more rapidly invested. We tend to be more rapidly invested than the woman because there's more at stake for them. So maybe lower your investment just a touch and you do what I call dual direction, because if you just become a little more casual, then it could work against you. You know, she could become more bored. But if you lighten up a little bit your attachment to it being a certain way, and at the same time you kick ass, but you kick ass for you really live your life, and she's around that, then it creates a vacuum effect where they are being pulled in. Now, at the next level, you're going to have to watch out, because sometimes then they won't let go. You know, they won't let go. You tell them, no more. That's it. Goodbye. And they don't understand that. It's very hard for women who have been with men that have their shit together to let go afterwards. So, Aukeyto, I don't know if Arash is going to be back on the line, or
Okay.
I know he had to run, but we got the convention coming up, and
Absolutely.
I'm sure by now pretty much everybody's aware of the global SLR coming up October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And it's basically the whole place is being packed. It's basically selling out. So it's going to be down to, well, did you make it or not? So we'll give a little incentive tonight for anybody who's not yet registered. But what I'm curious of is the theme this year is going to be, what is the missing link that nobody has been offering yet? So it's going to challenge all the speakers to think even beyond their best. So for you, in your own opinion, 2 questions. First, what do you think is that missing link? A student was kind of asking that question. And then what are you bringing to the plate? What can the guys look forward to hear when they'll see you and meet you in person at the convention, for those who are coming?
Absolutely. I feel that one of the biggest missing things or missing links in the game when it comes to the female psychology, the opposite sex, and attraction and seduction is that, and I've written I guess a phrase you could say a while back that I had never heard, at least in these words, which was, the game is not logical, it's biological. Okay, and what I'm going to emphasize on is so far beyond what people think is logical when it comes to attraction and seduction, because we're dealing with the genetic code, and everything that I do and what I'll be speaking on, which is the seductive instinct method, is based on the genetic code, which we've cracked this code. And so what's missing is that it's so far beyond logical that it's so ingrained in the DNA. To give an example, a lot of times individuals still believe in love and believe in and I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm just saying that from a certain perspective, and they believe in that certain things. Like if a girl says, I don't normally date men who are, let's say, Hispanic. A person who's Hispanic, if he accepts that, he'll never approach the girl. But on a DNA level, that's not the case. The opposite is happening. It has nothing to do with his culture, his race, his creed, or color. It has nothing to do with that. And so when you really get down to the DNA and the genetic code, it says something else. It's a different programming. So what's missing is that the game is biological. It's not logical. When it's done properly and when the value is there, she will logically make it make sense. And that's something that is missed a lot as far as from my own observation of the game. And what I'm bringing to the stage and to this conference, man, it's going to be something from a different world, because I don't think I reside on planet Earth. You know, I'm here physically, but my mind is somewhere else and my game is somewhere else. And so what I'm going to give is something that is unique. It's something that's unique, and it's something that everyone will feel. It will resonate with this frequency that I'm putting out. And so that's what I'll say for now.
Vince, Aukeyto, can you hear me?
I hear you good.
Yes. Okay. Anyways, my thing was muted, and I thought you guys were hearing me. I arrived here right now. I just want to say thank you for the call. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Everybody, I hope to see you at the Global SLR. And Aukeyto and I will do a Q&A this Thursday. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Thank you for the call. And I'll see you guys real soon. I have to sign out, okay? Peace.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you, Arash. So we can take one more question, maybe two. who's going with the next question?
They may be still muted.
Yeah, let me try.
Or maybe not.
Yes, I have a question. My question is, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now we can hear you. Sorry, you were still muted.
Okay, yeah, my question is, well, man, I feel like, when I walk into a room, when I go places, that, people can sense, people can, they can feel, who I am on the inside, when they speak to me, like I rarely get negative responses from people, if at all. That's just because I like to practice just being genuine, and even though sometimes I can be, I guess I could say more to myself, I know that I'm very observant, so I can feel and I can see, I can sense that women are attracted to me. But oftentimes I don't know why, but I guess sometimes I have a hard time taking the step out there to go ahead and take it to the next level with these women, and like I know I'm a strong person on the inside. I don't shy away from anything. I walk with my head up. I'm a proud person, but I feel like I'm missing something in regards to just in regards to how many women I could have, and how I feel like what in front of me now isn't what's resemble on the inside of me. Like, I know that there should be more women in my life than I already have, but I don't necessarily know what I need to change on the inside of myself to start taking more chances and to just start communicating more, because it's not like I'm antisocial. I'm very social. I like to have good conversation, but at the same time, I just don't know what it is, man. It's just kind of bugging me, man. I don't really know what to do.
Okay.
But yeah, my basically my question is, how can I increase? How can I take what I already know I have, which is like my strength and just my beingness, my friendliness, and increase that to bring more women and take the women who are attracted to me into my life more easier. Take that step. How can I do that?
Aukeyto, go ahead.
Okay, sure. All right. So not to get, if you will, Vince. Great, thanks. Now, not to get too metaphysical here, but everything's a vibration, including you and I. I mean, everything in the physical universe is a vibration, in which you said that a lot of times people can feel your presence. That's true. Energies and frequency, you can feel these types of things. So when you said a lot of people can feel you, who you are on the inside, but on the outside, you don't feel the same way. Well, there's a disconnection, okay? And I remember very clearly a while back in L.A., myself and Arash Dibazar, we were at a bikini bar, and we had a table, had a bottle, and there was a lot of girls around, and a lot of girls were very, very attracted to me. This is earlier on in my game. And he said to me, he said, man, you don't see that these girls are so attracted to you. And I said, I didn't even know. He said that, yeah, he said that, you yourself don't see it, but everyone else does. And I can relate to what you just said, because I knew a lot of times people could resonate with me, but I myself didn't believe, I didn't have the same belief in myself that everyone around me did. So if what you said is true, that you know that you have these strengths, then what you need to do is focus more on those strengths and make it more stronger. And just focus only on those. Don't worry about whatever it is that, whatever your weaknesses are. You should feed your strength even more and more and more and more. If you know how to play the guitar, really learn how to play the guitar a lot more, 10 times more. And then what will happen is your confidence will come up as you improve and as people around you begin to resonate with you, and you will see the results on the outside, which in essence, what happens on the inside is a manifestation of what happens on the outside, or vice versa, what happens on the outside is a manifestation of what happens on the inside. So what you need to do is this. You need to own it, man. You need to own it, because what you are dealing with is maybe something in your past where, and I don't know this type of speaking, but maybe you didn't think highly of yourself in the past because everyone else may have put you down, or you may have not gotten the results that you wanted or desired at the time. But that's not what's currently happening in present time. In present time, everyone is telling you, man, you are great. You know, you're strong, you're attractive. So what you need to do is focus on that, because that's your current reality. So I would only look at my strength and worry about so much about what your weaknesses are, because that's irrelevant. That's not important. And as you do that, as you begin to become stronger and stronger and stronger in those places where you are already shining bright, your confidence will begin to shine all around. And that's pretty much what I have to say about that, Vince.
I love to hear that. I love to hear that. And the focusing on your strength, there's nothing like it. There was a whole book written years ago. You don't need to read it, but basically it was the idea of just focus on your strength and make them even stronger. Now, what's also very interesting is that we all operate from presuppositions, things that presuppose other things, okay? And they're usually a little bit unconscious. It's not easy to detect them, even when you pay attention to them. But you got to realize, if for some time you've been going at it and you feel that, yeah, it's good, you know, but something is missing, that presupposition that something is missing could become so significant that it's very important to be careful that you don't just filter your reality like that all the time. And there are guys that at first they got fed up not being able to get anything with women. So from being fed up, that frustration was so strong, it gave them the motivation to bring about some change. But one thing that they never change is that presupposition that something is wrong, something is not quite there, okay? So you want to be smart. You want to also know that it's a journey. It doesn't matter what age you are, how much you know. You don't know where it's going to go with women, and you better be fully equipped for all seasons, all ages. And the younger you are, the more you want to hustle now, so you don't have to worry later, you know. So whatever happens in the future, you'll have a solid foundation. So for this gentleman, I would like to point out 3 simple things. Number 1, try for 1 week to change that presupposition. And what if, in fact, nothing was missing, and other than the realization that nothing was missing? How would you carry yourself through the world? How would you arrive? What new expectations would you have if that was it? Because you don't know when you've arrived. On the other hand, you got to be smart and also know that there's always something else to learn. Always. You know, I'm 47, and when we do those calls with Arash, I'm always ready, first one to take notes, to learn more, to grow more, because I know how much shit can happen. At the same time, keep a good balance on one side. You know, the learning will never end. Growth is essential to life. It's called evolution. So it's always going to evolve. At the same time, you don't need to constantly walk around with that sense of something is missing. So this week, ask yourself the question, what if I didn't know it and I got all the pieces? Okay? At the same time, bring in more pieces. And second thing, the piece that's missing for a lot of guys is to really understand female attraction. Okay? Because every guy that's straight will be attracted to beautiful women. For them, it's not such a big deal to have a look or a little bit of approval from a man, because they get that all the time. Okay? So you got to go and ask yourself, what is it that they don't get? And even if you think, oh, that girl is beautiful, a lot of guys talk to her, probably a lot of guys talk to her like dumb asses. Okay? So one thing that's different between male attraction and female attraction, male attraction we know pretty much right away. You see her, you know if you like her or not. Okay? So the quick glance, and if we were in the gay community and one guy looks at another guy, it's on basically, okay? But with women, it's not on until they're aware of it. So you got to be more proactive. You got to tell them, not because one thing I detect, and I'm a linguist, in your sentence, there was a world record of I guess. Too many guys guess that women like them without even going for it, okay? Because they don't want the truth. And the truth is that it doesn't matter how good you are, there's always going to be a certain group of women that they're not going to get it. And hear how I phrase it. I said they are not going to get it. I don't say they're not going to like you. No, it's their fucking problem. Then you're going to have a lot of girls in between. Because the moment you start to study that stuff, you're doing better than pretty much any average guy out there. So your appeal grows fast if you don't hold it back. Okay? But at the same time, they also have reasons, different types, their own conditioning and so on. And there will always be women that are going to like you. The good news is that it works in reverse. If you're a newbie and you haven't been getting any, that means there are women currently out there that exist for you, that are ready for you. You just don't know that. So you got to make sure you're a little more blunt. And the third thing, okay, the big debate has often been, okay, you keep it all mysterious, you don't say anything, you assume the girl's into you, but very rarely will girls go, hey, you, come here, give me your number, take mine, buy some condoms, meet me in 10 minutes by the bathroom, I'm ready for you, okay? Women will very rarely do that. Sometimes if they're under the influence, or crazy girls will, but they're a minority. So to find the right balance between not being too telegraphed in telling her, hey, you, I like you, and not being too silent about it, apply one thing I created, which is known as dual direction. You go in two directions at the same time. For example, you tell a girl, hey, you look adorable. We got to say hello. But then again, I don't know you, okay? Or, yeah, let's hang out, but something simple, because I don't know you yet. And I personally found that some of the things you most hate to hear from women are the things that best work with them. If you say them like a real man, if you know better. So a lot of guys, they hate it if a woman starts to go, we got to get to know each other, okay? Now, you're not going to say it stupidly and refuse to meet her before you really know her, to hang out with her. But you just say it fast. You go, you know what? I don't even know you. I got to get to know you. I mean, a lot of guys, all they want is sex. Yeah, I bet you're a really good love maker, but at the same time, I'm a little bit different. I need to get to know someone. Now, when you say that, you have three options. The girl was totally into you before, so that's going to drive her crazy. She's going to go almost like a guy. What the fuck? He's got to know me. What's he talking about? If she was in between, she will relax. So now you can do and say more. And if she wasn't into it, at least she can relax now. Okay? We got to take one more question for Aukeyto, and I also want to make sure you save one gold nugget to wrap up the call. Before that, there's so much happening, gentlemen. We're committed for whomever is coming to the convention or not to provide you the best of the best all the way to the convention. Next Tuesday, Arash will have a video call again. This is going on every Monday. We're going to make a recording available of it. I'll make sure to put it in the group Beyond the Game. And tonight, I'll keep it super simple. Gentlemen, the admission keeps on going up. We're down to one last VIP. So if you want the full treatment, one last VIP at that price, and then we get 3 more at the full price. And then registration is going up. So go check out the site, globalslr.com. It's the largest event ever produced by Arash and myself. Aukeyto will be there, Hypnotica, Bad Boy, Nick Hawk, you name them. And maybe for anyone who goes online and registers tonight, we could add a little incentive and a little bonus. Aukeyto, is there any little bonus you can throw in for a guy that signs up tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone that signs up tonight, I'll extend a special 1-hour Skype session with me, myself. And on those Skype sessions, normally a lot of individuals have a powerful shift in their game, their life, and ask anybody about it. is a very powerful session with me. So that's included with if anyone signs up tonight.
That's very generous of you. So you guys, you go to the site, and then we will know if it comes in before midnight PST. Then we'll know in that you get, and you can email me also. There's an email section on the website. Hey, I just signed up tonight. I was on the call. Can I have that Skype session? Only valid for those who were on the call. If you hear the recording afterwards, there's still all sorts of little bonuses thrown here and there, but best is to act on it now. So one last question for Aukeyto.
All right.
Hi, Paul from San Francisco. I don't know if the mute's on or not.
I hear you loud and clear. You're good.
Oh, okay, great. I have a question about body language. I'm used to doing situational, and I don't want to turn this into a direct-indirect debate, but one of the guys that I go out with suggested trying direct, and then I just crashed and burned. But then after a while of doing it, he gave me some more tips, and I was able to at least get the girl to stay and get a number. So I'm wondering, if you favor, say, situational, is it good to kind of isolate or troubleshoot your body language to do direct once in a while?
I'm going to say two things. First, do whatever you need to do to close for the phone number so that it's not so much of a situational, direct, indirect, whatever you feel that you can do wherever you are right now currently, do that to close or do that to accomplish whatever goal that you're going for. Now, as far as body language goes, yet you must understand that before you even say one word to her, before you even approach her, your body language has already spoken to her. First and foremost, before you even get a couple feet away from her to open. So if it begins prior to you even saying one word, then you must make sure that what I normally teach my students is that if you knew that you were being recorded by a camera, let's say like a movie, if you knew that you were on camera, everything about you in that moment would change if you knew you was being recorded, which means your posture, the way that you would, your gestures, your facial expressions, everything would change if you knew you were being recorded. So that alone will help you as an exercise when you are out interacting with women or even high-value men, even children, cats, and dogs. It doesn't matter. But with that said, using situational is good. Going direct is good. Indirect is good too. Again, whatever you are versed in that can get you the results, do that because that's what you currently are in your experience. Does it matter as far as situational and your body language? Body language is first and foremost. That's singing to everything else as far as your method of approaching. So that's what I have to say about that, Vince. If he wants to elaborate more, it's fine.
Yeah, I'll be brief, but think of one more gold nugget as we wrap up, Aukeyto, and thank you again so much. Paul, you got to watch out. You heard Arash before say, go as close as possible to the source, okay?
Right.
Because there's plenty of guys who've studied from that guy, who studied from that guy, who studied from that guy, who studied from that guy, that go and give a little advice here and there, but any of that is going to regress you, okay? Now, you heard me before, establish a deeper dissection than direct or indirect or observational or whatever. You got to go deeper than that. You got to realize that everything that you do out of your desire to get, not knowing that you could get no matter what, that you have to do something special, will not come across the best way or the right way. But everything that you do because that's who you are and who you are becoming and how you pay attention to the world will come across much better and take you further, okay? So you cannot be the guy that you're looking at a girl and you go, oh, wow, what could I say? Well, what if I go direct? She's kind of hot. She's probably not going to like it. Or maybe, oh, look at that thing across the street. Maybe I could tell her about that, okay? It's not going to go anywhere. But if you're the kind of guy, if you see a woman and you notice you have an impulse on the inside that goes, wow, she's beautiful. Wow, she's sexy. Wow, she's hot. And you're able to ride that organic impulse, okay? They're going to sense it. Wow. What you're going to have going on for you that's stronger than anything, you're going to be, wow, the guy is real. He's not hiding or any of that. And body language, you got to watch out because throughout the years, we tried to work it outside in, you know? So some guys were too tense. So then people told them, be more laid back. So then they got the weird hip-hop stand that only looks good if you're into hip-hop. So it's weird. Why is this guy leaning back like a tree that's poorly leaned? So then after that, people say, oh, okay, you got to stand tall. So you had all those guys walking around with their chest up in a ridiculous manner, okay? But the more you're flowing on the inside, the more you got your stuff together, the more the rest of your body will follow. And what you want to find to correct your body language is your core, your center point. See, the rest, it's like the trunk, and the rest are like the leaves and the branches, and there you'll have more mobility, okay? So I have one exercise I wanted to give to everyone, because one thing that's unique about the Global SLR as well is we want to make sure it's as practical as possible. So in just a moment, I will share one final exercise that you can do this week. Call again. We'll have all the speakers coming to the conference in private interviews. Arash will always be on the line on Mondays also with me. So call again. And meanwhile, Aukeyto, one last word of wisdom.
Yeah, sure. Whatever it is that you guys desire, okay, whatever your dream is, your passion is, whatever it is, whatever you're pursuing, whatever it is, you must make sure that you stay hungry, okay? You stay hungry, because I'm sure you've heard laziness will kill you, complacency will kill you, and these things are true, because if wherever you are right now, and whatever you have as far as success or money or women, whatever, health, even that, if wherever you are right now, if you stop gaining more of that thing, as time moves forward, that thing that we are talking about, your goal or whatever it is, it will lessen. And if it continues to lessen, at some point you'll have no more of it. Or if it's your health, you'll die eventually. And I know it sounds extreme, but it is extreme because it's your life. And so you must make sure that you stay hungry, and you must be ruthless in whatever it is that you are pursuing. I myself, I have success. When I look back on the times that I've been complacent, I could have a lot more than what I have. I could have more women, more money, better health, better physique. I could have a lot more of everything had I kept my eye on the hunger. So that's the gold nugget that I have for you, because that applies to everything that you are doing. And it's not okay to just have an appetite. I wrote a status on my Facebook. If you follow me, you can see it. Just having an appetite is just not enough. You got to be hungry, man. You got to be hungry. And so I want to leave you with that, because that's like the most important thing that I focus on right now, currently in my life. So I'll hand it back over to you, Vince.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Aukeyto, I really want to thank you for being on this call, and also for joining the convention. You know, when we were selecting people to come with Arash, and he said, oh, Aukeyto got to be there. I knew in a heartbeat your solidity. You know, just when I met you, I was like, wow, look at that solidity. And you're giving so much every day on Beyond the Game. It's nonstop, Q&A.
Yeah.
So thank you for how giving you are. And, you know, not many people know, and they take it for granted. But, wow, you're so giving. I'm super excited about your presence at the convention. We'll do more. Gentlemen, Aukeyto, Arash, and I are also going to do a mutual interview to come up during the next 10 days. On my side, one exercise. I mentioned that any discipline you're learning, you will have to focus on 3 main areas. One of them is omission, the things that you can no longer be concerned about or think about. A good example would be a guy starts to pick up race car driving. He can no longer constantly think, oh, what if I crash? What if I crash? No, because if that's a concern, then don't pick up race car driving, okay? So how will you detect the things you must let go of? You do future projection. Imagine, without knowing exactly the specific, it will be like you'll be the next guy with a harem or 2-3 girls, or however it will manifest itself. Imagine you have become that full version of yourself. And then look back at some of the things you used to say. Okay? For example, let's say you sleeping regularly with a whole bunch of girls, you got new ones coming up all the time. Are you even going to question whether you should go direct or not? You'll probably be so busy with women that you're not even going to dissect it like that anymore. Okay? So imagine yourself coming to full fruition and looking back from the future on some of the statements you make today or questions you ask, and you'll know which ones to cross off. Then start to focus on some of the things that you do well already, and there watch out, because for so many people, the bar is so high that they're only going to focus on their life's biggest achievement. I'm not talking about that only. I'm talking about all the little things, you know. Maybe one night you're out with a buddy and he says something, and then you laugh and you notice you're getting a good response. You go, wow, you know, when I laugh like that, it seems that everybody's always at ease, or whatever it is. And then listen. Join that Q&A with Arash and Aukeyto on Thursday, because you got to implement ideas that you haven't had yet. And the only way those ideas stick in is through massive repetition. There's no way around. And when you first hear them, you're not sure. And then they become more and more appealing, but they're almost like a tease because you don't live them. And the day you fully live them, you look back and go, what the hell was I thinking? Why didn't I do that any sooner? Now, think of those 3 categories, and I give you an exercise. If anybody, you know, there's always the couple like super committed guys that are going to take one exercise. But when I came up with this exercise, it helped me greatly. For 1 month, I took a quick bath at night, and in the bath, I would draw a circle to my right, and in it, I would imagine I would put the things that I had done that day or said that day that I didn't want anymore. And then I would just tap the water, like to explode it. And then I would do a circle in front of me, and I would there drop a few things that I did that were great, and I would stir it and imagine putting a little potion so it becomes even better. Now, understand, it's a little bit out there, but you're working with your unconscious mind. And then third, I would start to ask questions to come up with new ideas. What are the thoughts that will be most helpful that I haven't had yet? How must I think to now experience all the success I ever wanted and even more? Okay? So, thank you, Aukeyto. Thank you, Arash, also. Arash,
thank you, Vince.
Is like no other. He had a meeting tonight at 7:45. And a commute before that, and normally most speakers would go like, oh, I can't on Monday, I got this and that. But that's not Arash. He made it happen, and when you really listen to the recording, he's really shared some phenomenal gold. I'm so excited about the future of everything that's coming together. And meanwhile, at least go check out the site. That's how you'll find also the info to be on the video conference calls. GlobalSLR.com. Stands for Global Seduction, Lifestyle and Relationships Convention, coming up October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And anybody who goes to the site before midnight tonight and emails us that you got your ticket tonight, you're going to get a very generous, phenomenal 1 hour on Skype with Aukeyto, which is very generous of his. So,
absolutely.
Thank you again, everyone. Brilliant questions.
Thank you, Vince. I appreciate it, Vince.
Keep it up. We'll see you on Beyond the Game.
No doubt. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.